Today I will explain 3 important rules about exhibiting contemporary art. I will take some of these graphics for example, so let's first take a closer look on some of them. "30 years ago, I was dreaming to exhibit these computer graphics in some great places like Whitney Museum, for example. Now I'm in that dream, telling you why it never happened. My name is Theo Spiller, and this is Unsuccessful. Rule number 1. Don't be ahead or behind your time. An artist must understand his place in time and space. He must understand his audience, know his place in the market, and understand how the market works. Today, as artists like David Hockney use iPad for painting, there is no problem to find a gallery or museum to exhibit digital art. But 30 years ago, galleries specialized in painting and graphics didn't want to hear about digital art. 30 years ago were those graphics something really special and people really liked them, but they didn't want to buy them. They were afraid they will lose their value because you can make million copies of them. They were also suspicious how long will a computer print last. And beside that, color prints were then really expensive. In early 90s, there were no internet platforms to show or sell this or any other kind of art. Art System, on the other hand, was interested in digital art, but they were expecting this kind of art to be multimedia and interactive. Later, in mid-90s, I was creating internet art, which was multimedia and interactive. It was successfully exhibited on venues like Venice Biennale, and media like New York Times wrote about it. There are about 50 videos about it on my channel below. But exhibiting these graphics remained only a dream. Those graphics were ahead of their time for galleries and collectors, but behind the time for the digital art. We can learn from this that an artist should understand his position in time and space. He shouldn't be ahead or behind his time. Let me give you an advice before we go to the next rule. Subscribe to my channel below while the camera moves around the gallery, because the next video will be something really special. Rule number 2. Think global, act local. How often did you hear that you must dream big? It's bullshit. I was dreaming to exhibit those graphics in some great venues like Whitney Museum or Guggenheim or MoMA. I was writing letters like, "Dear sirs, I'm an artist and I would like to exhibit blah 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 blah." And I sent those letters to some greatest galleries and museums and curators around the world. I didn't even took effort to find out what each of them wants and needs and write letter to each of them separately. I just created generic letters, sent them around and hoped that they will discover me and my great big dream will come true. Well, it didn't. Even a 1,000 miles long journey starts with the first step here and now. I was dreaming big and global about those graphics and I failed. But with my internet art, I was acting very local in a small group. Things spread and spread, became international, and at the end they were exhibited on places like Irish Museum of Modern Art, and national media from around the world reported about it. And yes, you can find over 50 videos about it here on my channel. Thinking global means that you know and understand what is going on in the art world and that you use the right platforms to represent your work. But just putting things on the internet is not enough. Acting local means to have a group of followers who know and like your work and spread word about it to their friends and their friends to their friends and so on. And maybe one day things really become global. You shouldn't reach for the stars. You shouldn't want an instant global success. But you also shouldn't be limited by the thinking of your local environment. Think global, act local. Before we move to the next step, I would like to know, what do you think about the art system? What are your experiences with it? So please, write your comment below while the camera slowly moves around the museum of my dreams. Rule number 3. Your art is not about yourself. These graphics are just expressions and experiments. I would just turn on a computer, grab a mouse and start drawing. These works are not about some group, some religion, some race or sexual orientation or things like that. They are just expression of my personal feelings and attitude. And who cares about our feelings these days? 100 years ago, an artist might be a suffering individual, but today he must be an entrepreneur, a self-promoter, a seller, a merchant. There is not much freedom in artistic career anymore. Artists must do what gallerists and curators expect from them, and they expect continuation, development, intellectual effort and so on. As you can see, each of these graphics is individual. There is no connection or fil rouge between them. A gallerist expects artist's work to be his trademark, because then it can easily meet collectors' expectations. And for a curator or a critic, it is difficult to write about an exhibition made of many very different objects. So I would need to make 20 or 30 variations of each of those works and then choose just few of them. And then maybe, just maybe, these works could be exhibited on some great venues like Whitney Museum, even if they are not conceptual or social critical. It is a great thing to be creative, to express yourself. It can have a therapeutic value, it can even save your life. But to build an artistic career, there must be much, much more than that. If you like this video, don't be afraid to give it a thumb up. But if you disagree with me, please criticize me on the comment section below. And to get more about my successful art projects, visit my channel or my website. One day those vintage, low-resolution graphics will become a hype, and you can buy this graphic right now on the Saatchi gallery here.